We're nearing the end of Pride Month, and many companies are transforming their brands to show support for the LGBTQ community, but their political contributions appear to tell a different story. CBS's Femi Redwood explains.
Take a walk down one of Manhattan's busiest shopping streets and you'll see a lot of companies celebrating and selling pride. But LGBTQ shoppers we spoke to say it often seems disingenuous.
And I feel like they want to jump on the bandwagon so they can profit out of it, but it's not they're really doing anything for the community in itself.
The merchandising has been dubbed rainbow capitalism.
We're talking about a marginalized community here. And so you have to support the community outside of marketing to the community during Pride Month.
Activist Jay Walker with Reclaim Pride Coalition would like to see big business take a back seat during Pride Month.
They have taken that corporate presence to the nth degree, to the point that it overshadows the members of the community and overshadows the fact that we are still fighting for our rights.
A recent investigation by the political newsletter Popular Information found at least 25 major corporations that participate in Pride events or sell Pride products give money to lawmakers supporting anti-LGBTQ policies. The advocacy group GLAAD says companies profiting from the queer community should join the movement.
Businesses have to put their money where their mouth is, and that means speaking up against the over 200 anti-LGBTQ bills that have been proposed.
While activists try to find the right balance, NYC Pride organizers say corporations have helped push LGBTQ rights forward.
In the 90s, corporations were the first to actually support domestic partner benefits before any state did.
Now with Pride merch everywhere, activists hope consumers will hold the companies selling it to a higher standard. Femi Redwood, CBS News, New York.
For more, I want to bring in Sheila Krumholz. She is the administrator at OpenSecrets, a research organization based in Washington, D.C. Sheila, thanks for being here. I want to tell our viewers a little bit about your organization because it tracked PAC money donated to lawmakers who voted against the Equality Act. First of all, explain to us all what is that act and how it would affect the LGBTQ community.
Sure. Thanks for having me. The Equality Act would broaden and codify the landmark 2020 Supreme Court decision in Bostock versus Clayton County, where justices ruled that discrimination based on sexual orientation violates the 1964 Civil Rights Act, and that act passed the House in March. This act, of course, is huge to the LGBTQIA community. Of course, protecting their rights as employees at these corporations is part of what we're talking about here. I think it's really disheartening for any community, frankly, to see corporate marketing that gives the appearance of support while not supporting the community in important ways that the public doesn't see. And in the past, we've seen consumers, when they found out about these instances of apparent duplicity, that they've at times armed boycotts against those companies.
So go ahead, Sheila, and give us some examples of companies that you found that sent money to lawmakers who voted against the act that are engaged in a little bit of that outward-facing appearance of supporting equality, but maybe where they write their checks tells a different story.
Yes. Raytheon PAC gave $10,000 to Elise Stefanik, Republican of New York, $10,000 to Mario Diaz-Balart, Republican of Florida, who voted against the act, $8,500 to Senator Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, $3,500 to Susan Collins. Blue PAC, the Blue Cross Blue Shield PAC, similarly gave to Stefanik, to McConnell. They also sent $34,000 from employees or individuals affiliated with BCBS to McConnell. And $2,000 to Collins. American Airlines, Walmart, AT&T has sent $59,000 since 2019 to sponsors of anti-LGBTQIA legislation. So all of these companies are companies that promoted Pride Month, had rainbow-themed logos on their social media. I think it stands to reason that they might be using this as marketing to encourage their LGBTQI employees and consumers, customers, but not really kind of phoning it in or actually working at cross purposes to their public messages behind the scenes.
But Sheila, on the other hand, it's not uncommon for PACs or companies to give money to both political parties. Are they just trying to spread out their influence as much as they can and are just sort of agnostic, really, on beliefs when it comes to the LGBTQ plus community, and they're just trying to, I guess, buy their influence in any way possible?
It's absolutely true that corporations are notoriously risk averse, and PACs largely or quite often give to both sides almost evenly. They're trying to hedge their bets to make sure that they have an ally in Congress on whatever legislation comes up. And these companies are immense. They have lots and lots of issues before the federal government on regulation, on taxes, you name it. The issue is when they appear to take a side in favor of, for instance, in this case, the LGBTQIA community, saying that they are proud supporters of the community in public. So it'd be one thing if they were truly agnostic on gay rights issues, but if that is true, then they really shouldn't be trying to have their cake and eat it too, by saying, on the one hand, they are very, staunch advocates of the community while also giving to folks who are working against LGBTQIA legislation.
Yeah, Sheila, I want to follow up with you on that point because, as you're sort of pointing out, consumers who care about these issues might want to be able to tell the difference between a so-called rainbow capitalist, a company that is marketing potentially off of the popularity of Pride, versus companies that actually support those issues. How can consumers tell the difference?
Well, that's part of the reason that OpenSecrets exists. The public can go to OpenSecrets.org to look up where the money is coming from in politics, which corporations, which organizations are supporting which politicians, and also see who's sponsoring what legislation and see which corporations are lobbying on that legislation. So there are a lot of kind of dots that we try to connect. Money is just one of them. It represents a relationship, but that's really where the rubber meets the road. Not these, banners and statements of support that are easy to put up and pull down after Pride Month. The real question is, what do these corporations truly stand for? Who will they stand by? Is it going to be their, in this case, LGBTQIA employees and customers? Or is it the politicians that oppose legislation to support that community, but who have jurisdiction over other issues that these companies care about? Ultimately, people want to trust that the companies they patronize share their values. When people only rely on the public statements and the marketing, they risk being tricked essentially into supporting a company that is working against those public statements behind the scenes. So more information, I think, is essential here. This is just one example of why more information is good. It's hard for us all to keep track of kind of the money in politics and the issues, but
that's why we appreciate you keeping track of it for us, Sheila. Sheila Krumholz, thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks.
CBSN continues to mark Pride Month, covering the politics of pride, diversity, representation, families, education, and health. You can watch the coverage all month long right here on CBSN.